All right, do we have transition team members here at all the tables? Are there any transition team members in the back who are not seated at a table? All right, is there anybody who's not a transition team member that's at the tables? All right, we've got a seat up here. Okay. Well, good evening.
Good evening.
We welcome you all to the introductory general meeting for the transition team. Thanks for being here. I want to make sure everybody gets signed in. If I don't, Dr. Y has my personal phone number at home, and she'll track you down through me. So is there anybody else who has not signed in yet? Okay, if we could get a clipboard.
Oh, it's over here.
Right over here. Yes, what she holds.
Thank you.
There you go.
I'll just keep them on short.
Okay. For those of you that I haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Andy Hayes. I'm one of the co-directors from this transition team, and I'd like to personally thank you for volunteering for this. That's right, if you didn't know, you volunteered. This is your last chance to run, but there are cameras in the room. This will impact the one thing we all have the same amount of, time. You have elected to forego some personal time, and it will impact potentially your families as well. And so again, our sincere thanks for being willing to serve. We are a diverse group from different backgrounds and experiences, but we are united by a common purpose in caring, and that is for the city of St. Petersburg, for it to thrive and grow for future generations. Our mission here, as part of this transition team, is to provide the new administration with ideas and suggestions going forward for governing. For the next 6 weeks or so, we are a think tank, if you will, a rich group of conventional and non-conventional thinkers. Please keep in mind that not all ideas and recommendations will be utilized by the new administration, but all suggestions and ideas from the task groups will be carefully considered and will receive serious thought. In the aggregate, we are a large number, and I have to tell you, one of us on the core team got a tweet that says, oh, 45 people on the transition team, the city council's only 8. What do you expect to do? So, we are where the rubber meets the road. The mission and the focus of this effort, if you will, will be at the task group level when we break up into the individual issues in teams of 5 to 8, depending on what the issue is. Dr. Y will tell you in greater detail about that in her overview. But before we go into the details of the meeting, I'd like to go around and have the transition team do a personal interview, no more than 2 or 3 sentences. Some of the folks on the transition team are meeting for the first time tonight, so that's important that we all know and understand, at least recognize who we are. And so I'll start off with that. As I said, my name's Andy Hayes. My practice, Hayes Cumming Architects, is at the southwest corner of 22nd and Central. I'm former president of both the MLK and the Grand Central Business District Associations. In 2015, I'll serve as president of AIA Florida. I'm a former combat veteran of Iraq and 23 years of service in the U.S. Air Force and Florida Air National Guard. And I'm going to skip over these folks and go over to Ross.
Good evening. My name is Ross Preville. I am with the St. Pete Wealth Management Group of Raymond James in downtown St. Petersburg. I am the Vice Chair of the Chamber's Public Policy Council, and I am Chair of the Chamber's Downtown Waterfront Master Plan Task Force.
I'm Joel Giles. I'm an attorney with Carlton Fields, a graduate of Boca Ciega High School, University of Florida. I have served as the chair of the board of the St. Pete Area Chamber of Commerce. I've been involved in the Chamber of Commerce for 25 years or so, and during most of that time I've focused my attention on transportation issues. I hope to be able to assist Mayor Kriseman in dealing with those.
I'm Jim Newman. I'm the managing shareholder of Gregory, Sher and Stewart. We're located in the Northern Trust Bank building, the 6th floor. We've been there for 26 years. I've worked with Rick on the Heroes of St. Pete Police. We built a monument to our fallen officers this last year, and I'm on the board of the Salvador Dali Museum.
Hi, I'm Rick Mussett. I'm currently the City of St. Pete City Development Administrator. Lived in St. Pete a long time, Air Force veteran. With Andy, we have University of Michigan in common, wife and 2 sons.
Mike Dove, formerly several positions with the City of St. Petersburg. Rick actually hired me, so blame him. Currently, I'm a consultant on the side, just volunteer work around the community. I've lived in St. Petersburg for 33 plus years.
Bob Jeffrey, another former employee of the city, very active in historic preservation, served on the Community Preservation Commission, and do a lot of volunteer work with neighborhoods and events of their district.
I'm Ann Whitefell. I'm an arts consultant and former manager of cultural affairs for the city of St. Petersburg.
I'm Ed Montanari. I'm a Northeast High School graduate and Air Force veteran also, so we got 3 Air Force. We've got some Army veterans over here. I've done a multitude of things for the city of St. Petersburg. I serve on the Planning Commission, Albert Wooded Task Force, and for the last 4 years here.
I'm Carl Nurse. I'm the chairman of the city council and have been active in town for 20 years or so.
I'm Johnny Bardine. I'm an attorney. My office is right around the corner from Andy's. I served previously on the PIER advisory task force, and I'm happy to be here.
Good evening. My name is Angelo Rousson. I'm the current president of the National Council of Negro Women here in St. Petersburg. I also serve on the Juvenile Welfare Board. I'm also on the St. Anthony's Hospital Foundation Board. I'm the sitting vice chair of the Pinellas County Housing Authority, and I am the office manager for Rousson Associates. And if all of that were not rewarding enough, I also am the mother of 5 very entertaining
Hello, I'm Vince Cox. I'm manager of operations for Care Ride, a wheelchair transportation company. I'm also vice president of operations for Faith House, for a halfway house located downtown St. Pete, and I'm a member of the Green Light Pinellas.
Good evening. Winnie Foster, grassroots organizer for a few years here in St. Pete, and I see so many great people in this room. My goodness, I'm overwhelmed. This is the most exciting, wonderful thing that's happened recently. So I'm looking forward to working with everybody, and we'll let everybody know that we must all remember the grassroots always.
Hi, Lorraine Marchison, a longtime environmental neighborhood and public safety activist and recent city council candidate.
Good evening, my name is Lou Brown III. I'm another Boulder City graduate, a little bit after you guys know.
That was a bonding moment, right?
I'm an attorney for minor league baseball, as well as the president of St. Pete Together and co-chair of Agenda 2010, as well as working with the NAACP.
My name is Reverend Robin Whitlock, and I'm not a long-time member of St. Petersburg community, but I've been 8 years at my current pastorate, of which Dr. Y, as they now refer to you here, is a member. But I've also taught for over 20 years in medical school. I taught medical ethics. I've been a longtime supporter of Habitat for Humanity. I'm a life member of Historic Preservation Society, life member of the Sierra Club. I worked in juvenile probation while I was working my way through graduate school. I've worked in 12 different cities in 2 countries, and my wife is a public health and nurse practitioner. So I'm very familiar and supported by the community.
Peace be unto you. I am Imam Maskeel Muhammad Akil, native of St. Petersburg, graduate of Gibbs High School today. I'm also St. Petersburg College Trojan, a former director of the St. Petersburg Housing Authority, and currently a member of the St. Petersburg Interfaith Association, and I coordinate communications with the Tampa Bay Regional Veterans Network.
Good evening, my name is Ben Diamond. I'm a Clearwater native, but now a proud St. Petersburg resident. I'm an attorney at the law firm Williamson, Diamond & Caton, and I spent 40 years working as a lawyer in Tallahassee as general counsel for Alex Sink when she was the state chief financial officer, and now very glad to be back home. Thanks.
My name is Craig Sher. I'm the executive chairman of the Seminar Company. I've done some development in the city. I'm seriously addicted to civic engagement, which is a real problem. I need to learn to say no, but I couldn't say no to Rick. And I'm very excited about serving on this committee.
I'm Michael Torup. I'm the rabbi of Temple Bethel in St. Petersburg on the west side of Messina Avenue. I've been here now my 13th year, so I call my bar mitzvah year. Active in a number of different parts of the community. I co-chair the advisory council for Gulf Coast Jewish Family Services, liaison to the Jewish community. I chair a student loan fund with the Club Trophy Loan Fund. I've been involved in the Faith and Action for Strength Together, the FAST organization, the Interfaith Social Justice Coalition, and mostly, though, I think I'm here not just because I also have 3 kids, 2 of whom are graduating this year, and a wife who's a rabbi, so we'll figure out about the home stuff along the way. But I'm here because I'm Rick's rabbi. I think it's really
Good evening. My name is Cedric Gordon, and I'm recently retired from the St. Petersburg Police Department, where I served 33 years as the Assistant Chief of Administrative Services.
Good evening, I'm Carl Lavender, also retired from Boys and Girls, but I've been 40 years of service in youth development and very well-known in the Midtown community around youth and family and social justice. I'm also one of the co-founders of the 2020 plan, which you'll hear a lot about in the future, a plan to eradicate poverty in South St. Petersburg.
I can say amen to that. I'm Gypsy Gallardo, mother of 4, 2 that I gave birth to and 2 nephews that I raised. Best known as publisher of Power Broker magazine, but I actually have a day job with another company called Urban Market Ventures, working in the field of economic development, workforce development, small business, and micro business development. Founder of the PAC, which Carl has already mentioned. We sponsor collective action projects. Very proud to have had the involvement of about 60+ majority Black, historically Black organizations working behind some of our efforts, such as Agenda 2010 and the 7x7 movement.
Dr. John Muhammad, president of the Child Park Neighborhood Association, also a overseas graduate, Alpha School.
Good evening, I'm Chris Steinocher, president and CEO of the St. Pete Chamber of Commerce. I'm responsible for the session.
What happened today?
I'm dean of the College of Education, and I also direct the Bishop Center for Ethical Leadership and Civic Engagement at USF St. Petersburg. I've been in this community 21 years. I've served on most of the nonprofit boards in the city. I also chair Great Exploration, the St. Pete Museum of History. I had the pleasure to serve a number of years with Bayfront Hospital before it changed management. I stay involved with family resources, and I also chair the Pinellas Cultural Foundation. I'm very pleased to be a part of what is a very excellent group. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, I'm Herb Spitzer. I'm an artist and an author, Korean War veteran, and I look forward to doing some great things here in St. Petersburg. I've lived here now for 21 years. I've seen a lot of changes and it's fun to be here.
Katie Tully. I moved here in 2007 with my wife Helen, and we cared deeply about equality in our city. Prior to moving, I was in New York City, and I worked with the mayor's office and the City University of New York on the rebuilding of Lower Manhattan after 9/11. And more recently, I became a beekeeper
And so now I see honey in our future.
I'm Mariana Murphy. I've lived here since 1981. I serve on the city's Public Arts Commission as the chairman. I was on the Vision 2020 group. Was it 2000, 2001? President of Crescent Heights Neighborhood Association with Chris. And I have a firm that designs museum exhibits. Oh, and I'm on the board of Florida Craftsmen.
Hello, I'm Deborah Kelly. I'm the Executive Director of St. Petersburg City Theater. I serve as Chairman of the Arts Advisory Committee for the City of St. Petersburg. I'm on the Arts Alliance board, and I serve with St. Pete Arts on the steering committee. I'm a graduate of Seminole High School, but I came to my senses after leaving for 25 years, returned home and came to St. Petersburg. And Rabbi, I am a lifetime member of Hadassah.
My name is Dan Ray. I probably have the shortest tenure here, going back the furthest. I started my career here 30 plus years ago, and then went on to Washington and New York doing strategic planning for institutions and governments, and just returned 2 years ago, something I've wanted to do for 30 years.
I'm Wingate Newton. No. I'm Winthrop Newton. I am a 23-year veteran with the City of St. Petersburg Fire Department. I'm retired. I currently serve as the District Vice President for the Florida Professional Firefighters governing Pinellas and Pasco County, and I also serve as chairperson for the Firefighters Charity. All those different little things, but that's it for now.
And he's just like his brother. I'm Leslie Curran, City Council member, and in 42 days, I will end 16 years of being on City Council. I may explain the smile on my face right now. Born and raised here, just real excited to be a member of the group to move forward.
I'm Donna Welch. I'm the program coordinator / director at James B. Sandler Neighborhood Family Center, where we serve families and children. Sit on many advisory boards for youth, a native of St. Petersburg, and a graduate of Gibbs High School.
Good evening, Michael Connors. I am a 27-year public servant for the city and have lived here that same amount of time. Served in various directorship capacities, Criminal Services Administrator, currently Public Works Administrator, served as the Chair of the Consultant Selection Committee, Vice Chair of Investment Oversight, Chair of the Tampa Bay Estuary Program Management Board, and the Fire Pension Board, and I'm delighted to be here. Thank you, Rick.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Sophia Sorolis. I'm currently the Manager of Economic Development at the City of St. Petersburg, and also involved with the Chamber in our newest endeavor called the Greenhouse.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Nikki Capehart. I too am a St. Petersburg native and Gibbs graduate. Extensive background in community development and economic development via being a community development banker, small business owner, congressional staffer, former member of this chamber, WorkNet. So excited to be here as well.
Good evening. My name is Brett Miller. I'm the CEO of PSTA, the Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority. It's been an awesome week for public transit. Yesterday, the County Commission officially approved the ordinance to put Greenlight Pinellas on the 2014 ballot to get us a 21st century transit system. Today, my board voted unanimously to do that. So I'm very grateful for that. And I also happen to be the assistant coach of the Northeast Little League Milwaukee Brewers, who just won and made it to the championship. Thank you.
Bob, would you please stand up and introduce yourself?
Robert. Me?
Yeah. I think we missed you going around the first
yeah. Well, we are doing our 5th season of collaboration with the Florida Orchestra, and I had to be there to welcome them. I'm delighted to be here. I'm co-founder of the studio at 620 with Dave Ellis. We'll be celebrating our 10th anniversary next June 20th, where the answer is always an emphatic yes. So when I was asked to do this, I said yes.
Thank you, Robert. Well, thank each and every one of you again. Appreciate you all being here. There's a rich group of talent and thoughtfulness and commitment to this city, and we appreciate you taking this on. At this time, I'd like to introduce the next mayor of the city of St. Petersburg, Rick Kriseman.
Good evening, everyone. Before I make my remarks, we do have a couple other elected officials in the room, or elected elects in the room. Darden Rice and Amy Foster, I saw you all walk in. Welcome. And I'm awfully glad to hear that Will Newton is retired, because I think we would have some issues with the fire marshal tonight. So that's a good thing. First off, thank you all so much for coming tonight. Thank you for giving of your time and your efforts in this process. And my comments will be fairly brief. I think it's important that we remember that the election is over now. And there are people in this room who may not have voted for me and may have voted for my opponent, but none of that matters. This is really about us all coming together as a community. It's about us problem solving, and it's not about politics. There may be some in this room tonight who may not be able to make it to each and every meeting. There are some who have been selected for the transition team and agreed to participate who aren't here tonight, but will be coming to other meetings. So it's important that everyone realize that this is kind of a fluid process. We may end up adding additional people if we see the need that happens. And that's okay. Because really what this is about is trying to bring together people from all walks of life, from all areas of the city, that bring different perspectives to this process, so that moving forward with my administration, I try and pay attention to everything that's going on in the city that impacts everyone, not specific groups, but everyone, so that we really do strive to be that one united city that we can be, and that I know we can be. There are 44, roughly, give or take, members of this transition team, and all of you were really chosen because you all are leaders, and you do bring different things to the table. But I want all of you to remember that while there's 44 of you here, there are 250,000 residents in the city that you represent. And you are here because we couldn't have 250,000 in this room. But you are here because they need to have a voice. They need someone who will represent their needs, their desires, and their wants for this community. And while you all may come here with ideas and directions of things that are important to you, and we want to hear those, I want you, and I think it's really important that you remember the other 250,000 people in this community, and try and bring to the table not only your own wants and desires, but those of those 250,000 people. If we do that, if we're successful at that, then we really will be taking that step at becoming the St. Petersburg that all of us know that we can be, that we want to be, and that we will be. So I thank all of you for being here tonight again. I will have to, and I apologize in advance, I will have to leave at some point because I made a promise to the Lakewood Neighborhood Association that I would pop in and visit with them tonight long before this meeting was set, and I don't want to back off of that promise. But I do thank you, and I'm really excited about the other thing that I get to do tonight, aside from welcoming all of you, which is to introduce our deputy mayor, Dr. Kanika Tomlin, who is a fifth-generation St. Petersburg resident. Hopefully you all have had a chance to see or read, if you haven't met her before, her resume, which is extremely impressive. I am really excited about working together for the betterment of this community and what we will be able to accomplish together. I have always envisioned my team to be a team. When one succeeds, we all succeed. When you all succeed, the city succeeds. So with that, I will introduce Dr. Tomlin.
so excited. This is just the opportunity of a lifetime, and I'll be brief because we need to get to the business that calls us together here tonight. But I wanted to say thank you to each of you for your service. As I stand here, I hear the wise voice of my Angelo in my head, who often says, I come here tonight as one, but I stand with thousands. And I do. I stand here tonight with thousands, people who came long before me, and representing people who I hope we build a community that will have people longing to be here long after the service is done. But when I say those thousands, many of the people that I see here tonight who I've had the pleasure and the honor to serve with, and I'm so honored to serve on your behalf. Welcome to the first draft of our city's next chapter. We'll be most successful if we author it together. Our administration will be distinguished by inclusion, partnership, and collaboration. And I want to underscore to you tonight that is not rhetoric. That is an absolute promise that comes from the mayor-elect. It is underscored by me and will be reinforced by every member of our administration. We appreciate your partnership. We will only be our best if we encounter this endeavor together. So let's get started. We have some great work to do, and this is exactly the room of people to get it done. Thank you.
Good evening. I am the counterpoint of my co-chair, Andy Hayes, who threatened you. I am Dr. Yvonne-Scruggs-Leftwich, and I'm here to inspire you. I am the co-chair, and I've talked to almost all of you on the phone. And I want to thank you so much for setting aside all of the prior commitments that you had made to be here tonight. This is almost a full complement of the transition team, Mr. Mayor-elect. There are 49 members whose names I now have the pleasure of publicly, under the terms of the Sunshine Law, recommending to you from your two co-chairs, Andy Hayes and I, for your appointment and designation of these people for your transition team. They are Askia Mohammed Akil, Michael Babboni, John Bardine, Tressana Bryant, Louis Brown III, Vince Cox, Michael Connors, Leslie Curran, Ben Diamond, Bob Devon Jones, Mike Dove, Winnie Foster, Gypsy C. Gallardo, Nikki Capehart, Joel B. Giles, Cedric Gordon, William Bill Heller, Ph.D., Bob Jeffrey, Deborah Kelly, Carl R. Lavender Jr., Lorraine Marge's son, Brad Miller, Ed Montanari, who could not be here but will be visiting. Came a long way, believe me. I think it was Brazil. Okay. Brother John Muhammad, Marianne Murphy, Reverend Louis B. Murphy, who I think also had a prior engagement, Rick Mussett, James G. Newman, Northrop Will Wingate Newton, Larry Newsom, who also was previously obligated, Carl Nurse, Rosti Preville, Dan Ray, Angelo Rousson, Craig Sher, Rick Smith, Herb Snitzer, Sophia Sorolis, Chris Steinocher, I'm sorry, I don't really know, Steinocher, Herb, I said him, okay, this is a long list. Dr. D. Manuel L. Sykes, Reverend John G. Tapp, Rabbi Michael Torup, Katie Tully, Donna Welch, Lisa Wheeler Brown, Father Robin Whitlock, Dr. Tanja Williams, and Ann Weichel. I just want to tell you that the Providence, Rhode Island had 101 members on its transition team. New Jersey had 100. So when anybody says, oh, this is a big team, tell them you're big, but you're small, but you're powerful. Congratulations on your appointment by Mayor Rick Kriseman. Congratulate yourself. said I was going to inspire you, and I'm just going to take a few minutes to remind you that long ago in Athens, Greece, there was a concern for cities. And there is a quote which comes down from all of those many centuries ago called the Code of the Athenian City-States. And that code says, we want to come and serve this city, but we also want to leave it better, more gracious, and stronger than it was when we got here. And that is why all of us are here to serve, and that is why this is going to be, I think, a very successful experience. Your agenda says that I'm going to tell you a little bit about the transition team, and I'm going to recall with you that you received a letter from Mayor-elect asking you if you would carry out a mission, which was stated in that email. I think it came as an email. And so I urge you to read that again. Your activities will be fact-finding, data collection, assessment of resources, identification of possibilities, the application of your own individual expertise to addressing the problems which you identify in the city. And then finally, at appointed times, both verbally and in writing, you will make recommendations in the public forum to the mayor. Your activities will not be recommending unless they are publicly noticed. And so I urge you to please abide by that, and if people want to visit your meeting, they can visit and help you do all those wonderful things I just described, but they may not recommend in that setting unless it has been publicly noticed. And so that's sort of like when people arrest somebody and they don't read them their Miranda rights. Everything is eliminated. So don't jeopardize the work that you're doing by not doing it within the context of the law. We'll have lawyers available to you, and I know you will abide by that. I'm just going to introduce a part of a structure that I don't think most of you know about before. But before I do that, everybody talked about where they came from and what high school they graduated from. And I was reminded because my niece, Gypsy Gallardo, forgot to mention that she's been our backup here, the silent legs and brain and hands of the co-chairs as we have contacted you, and you know she has talked with some of you. She is a graduate of Harvard University's Kennedy School, and she has a major in economics, and she is all those other things that you know. But aside from that, she is my niece, my friend, my family, and she has been the strength under our wings as we have tried to put together this team. Okay, a little more business. I'm going to let me just say, this is such a large job that co-chair Andy Hayes and I have agreed to split the coordination role of the activities that we will carry out. And so I'm going to introduce the conveners whom we have identified of some of the task forces. And then I'm going to ask Andy to come and introduce the conveners of his. And then we will pass out some other materials to you that will we'll put some meat on the bones of this ideal, this structure, this hope, this promise, and the work that you have to do. It's called the scope of work. So I would ask Gypsy Gallardo to stand as a convener of the Economic Development Task Group. Ed Montanari to stand as a director, as a convener of the PIER Task Group. Craig Sher to stand as a convener of the Rays Task Group. And Joe Giles to stand as the convener of the Transportation Task Group. I read your task group. Okay, I'll read it. Okay. And James Newman, the convener of the Transparency and Fiscal Matters Task Group. Please give them a hand there. Thank you. And my groups are as follows. Strengthening Neighborhoods, chaired by Askia Muhammad Akil. Arts and Culture, chaired by Dan Ray. Innovation, Collaboration, and Sustainability, chaired by Carl Nurse. Public Safety, chaired by Cedric Gordon. Thank you very much.
At this time, since I've been painted as in the role of the heavy, I guess I'll go ahead and introduce the city attorney at this time.
So much for inspiration.
Glad you came back to me.
The Sunshine Law and the Public Workers Law are necessary inconveniences, as some politicians do. They provide for transparency, and I know that's what the president wants transparency, and he wants to follow the Sunshine Law and the Public Workers Law. There is no direct case law with respect to whether a mayor-elect has to be there. There is plenty of case law with respect to council member-elects have to follow. Concert? Okay. There's plenty of case law with respect to council member-elects needing to follow. There's no direct case law with respect to the mayor following it. However, he has chosen to do so. There are two types of groups that he can have. One is sunshine and one is not sunshine. If they are fact-finding groups, they don't have to be in the sunshine. If they are groups that are going to make recommendations, they need to be in the sunshine. What does that mean? For any sunshine meeting, three things have to be adhered to. One, there has to be notice of the meeting, preferably 24 hours. That's what the courts have said is enough. They've said 3 hours is not enough. So we like to use 24 hours. Secondly, it obviously has to be open to the public. And thirdly, there has to be minutes taken of the meeting. So that really are the only three requirements of the sunshine law. Now, if the subgroups are going to be recommending, which I gather they are, you should adhere to the sunshine law. Why? Because the penalties are bad. If you do it unintentionally, it's $500 fine. If you do it intentionally, you go to jail. So whether or not it really applies to this situation, the mayor has decided that, the mayor-elect has decided that it should apply. And I would advise you to follow those rules. That means for your subcommittee meetings and so forth, someone should take minutes, and they all should be publicly announced in advance, and they all should be open to the public. And that means accessibility also. They have to have accessibility for the public. Why do we have sunshine law and public works law? The Constitution requires it. It's in the Constitution. The Constitution says it's self-executing. The legislature has found fit to go ahead and enact laws. Chapter 286 is your public meetings law, and Chapter 119 is your public records law. I would advise you that public records are just about anything you produce except notes for your own recollection. And I advise you to keep them. Whether or not you'll be asked for them is another thing, and we can deal with that another time. But I'd advise you to definitely have a folder with all your correspondence and all your written materials, except those that are transitory and except those that are just for your own recollection. The legislature, as was in last year, passed a new bill. It's Senate Bill 50. And it says the public has the right to speak at any meeting where a recommendation is going to be made or official action is going to take place. So be aware of that. You can put certain restrictions on it with respect to time, place, and manner. It doesn't mean that every meeting you have to have an opportunity to speak. Sometime during the process, it could be at the end of the process, they have an opportunity to speak. Preferably at the end of the process, or near the end of the process would be the best time. Again, that's Senate Bill 50 that went into effect October 1st. And thank the legislature. Of course, they exempted themselves. If you go to Tallahassee and try to speak while they're debating up there, it doesn't work. So, but they felt that local bodies should listen to the public in that manner. I won't go into. I was an adjunct professor at SETS and I taught local government law. I will not go into my hour-and-a-half lecture on public records law. You fall asleep, I'm sure. I am board certified in city, county, and government law, and I've been with the city for 39 years. I haven't been city attorney all that time, but I've been in the department for 39 years. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me. Again, Mayor-elect Kriseman has indicated he wants to have us be transparent, and he wants to conform to public records law, and he wants to conform to the Sunshine Law. Regardless of whether he's required to or not, he wants that to be the case. So if there are any questions, you can call me. I think we have other lawyers on the team that can read the law as well as I can and help you. Does anybody have any questions?
Do you have a direct phone number?
Yes. It's 893-7024. You know what it is. Now, with respect to city employees, we have two council members, sitting council members here right now, and we have two council member elects. The conversations between the two sitting council members should not really occur if it's something that might arise during the remainder of President Carter's term. Conversations between Councilmember Nurse and the two councilmember elects should not have conversations with respect to anything that might come before the city council for action while they are serving on council.
I'll talk to you next year.
So that's just for city employees, or city officials. City employees, you know you're covered by the Public Records Act. You know, you're not this will be, some of you, this will be the first time you're covered by the Sunshine Act, so just, like again, if you have any questions, I can't go into all the details. There's a tremendous amount of case law on this, and there's a lot of fine distinctions that are made in the law. And again, but generally, if you adhere to those basic principles, the three things I mentioned with respect to sunshine meetings, you'll be okay. If you preserve your records, you're going to be okay.
How are meetings public?
Well, that's a good question. And Mayor-elect Kriseman can choose to do that as he sees fit. Notice to the press is usually the best way to do it, a press release. If you want to appear, it's not really a city meeting schedule, but we might be able to have you included on the listing of meetings that concern the city. But that would have to clear that with Mayor Foster. I don't think that's a problem.
And so for our additional one quick question, and if we have a series of meetings, some of them fact-finding and ultimately one where recommendations are presented, are the fact-finding meetings exempt from public action?
They can be if they're pure fact-finding. And, I mean, if you're just gathering facts, gathering information, not really discussing recommendations, but just gathering facts, they could be exempt from such. Yes?
Could we just use the new webpage that's for Mayor-elect Kriseman on the city website, use that as meeting notice venue or not?
It's not broad enough.
Oh, that's it.
You need at least a press release. Yeah. I think that would be sufficient.
We have a council who is on the task force, so if you want to get awesome.
Have at it.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much.
John,
Wait.
John, I have a question. You said there's no case law, sunshine on Mary-elect.
There's no direct case law that says he is required to adhere to the sunshine law.
Okay, but if you...
He has indicated he wants to.
But if there's no case law, it's a violation if you... I'm confused, but since there's no case law, how does that apply?
Well, do you...
Violation?
I don't want any of you to be the first case.
Well, my point is, I understand that if it's, council-elect, there's case law, which is a violation, but I was just a little confused if there's no law, just because you...
It depends on how long this committee lasts, too. If it lasts over into...
I understand that. Well, but...
It's plain and safe.
Just plain and safe. Okay, that makes me feel better.
You're just playing it safe.
There's a policeman here.
John, we talked to our fellow committee members without some kind of a rule, public notice?
No. That's
the fact-finding.
That's why you might want to do fact-finding.
Oh, so just to understand, I could talk to a fellow committee member if it's only fact-finding.
Now, once you get into the recommended phase, you can't even do that. If you split your task into fact-finding and recommendations, the fact-finding phase, you don't have to apply to the sunshine law. But once you switch from fact-finding to now we're going to discuss recommendations, you would be under the sunshine. But you can't bifurcate the process.
I'd like to introduce Ben Diamond, who is advising the transition team legally. I think this will help, and Dr. White was going to get into it. Our schedule is that we will fact find until December 15th. Between December 15th and December 22nd, we will consider recommendations. On December 22nd, we will send a draft document forward for review. The final document will be put forward on January 2nd, the day that Mayor-elect Kriseman is sworn in. So up until December December 15th. Now discuss recommendations amongst yourselves or the public.
I'll be very brief. Ben Diamond. I'm delighted to be serving on the transition team with all of you. I just want to thank our City Attorney, John Wolf. I also want to thank the Mayor-elect. I think he set the right tone in his opening comments when he said that the 44 of us represent all 250,000 residents of the City of St. Petersburg, which I think is why he made this decision and this commitment to transparent process. All I want to do really is share with you my telephone number as well, in case anybody has any questions. I defer to my colleague and our esteemed city attorney. I think he described the state of the law in a very, very good way. My office number is 727-398-3600. And when we get to the stage where we're making recommendations, I think it will be helpful for us to designate somebody to be a minute taker, and also to designate somebody perhaps to be sort of a record custodian to collect all the drafts and emails and the working papers of our groups. There is some case law that says that advisory boards that make recommendations to public officials, even if the whole group is our citizens, that those recommendations can be considered part of a public process, and I think this probably qualifies. So I thank our city attorney for his counsel and look forward to working with all of you. Thanks.
Thank you, Ben. It's not easy to be in that position. I realized as I was sitting here that somehow we skipped over Dr. Yvonne-Scruggs-Leftwich's introduction, so I'd ask you to just say a little bit about yourself. She's going to take you through some scope of work stuff right now as well.
Actually, this is a good segue because all of you have been talking about how you're veterans of this and veterans of that. Well, I want to tell you, I am a veteran of having worked as Deputy Assistant Secretary in the Department of Housing and Urban Development and worked directly for President Carter in creating the very first codified urban policy that this country ever had. I'm a veteran of having been the first appointee to the cabinet of Governor Mario Cuomo as the Commissioner of Housing and Urban Renewal, Community Renewal, and immediately having inherited all the rent control properties in the state of New York, most of which are concentrated in New York City, where there are ongoing battles all the time because your great-grandmother moved her grandchild in before she moved out, and then the niece moved in, and they kept control of apartments for a couple of generations at, $85, $100, $200 a month in Manhattan. I'm the veteran of having been the deputy mayor of the city of Philadelphia, coming in as the only deputy mayor after an appointee to the cabinet of the first African-American mayor of Philadelphia decided that a little disruptive sort of back to earth group of people who lived in a compound and had chickens and cows and things on their property. They had a fence up. Decided that, well, this was a distraction in that community. And he took a helicopter and dropped C4. You know what C4 is, those of you who've been on this house which destroyed 60 houses, killed people in the Osage community. I'm the veteran of having been struck by the sanitation workers in the city of Philadelphia and having gotten a call and gone to a big intersection. There's no intersection in St. Petersburg that big. And people had taken garbage and dumped it in the middle of the street. And so I opened my trunk and got my rubber gloves out, and all the men who were standing around just in awe of the show. I said, come, we got to get this garbage up. So I'm standing, little me, all these big men, picking up garbage. As those of you who know Philadelphia, the intersection of Erie Avenue and Broad Street, huge. So I think that I qualify as a veteran too, and that I also qualify as being a glutton for punishment, because those are very demanding jobs. And I realized that when Mayor-elect Kriseman won, and I saw this is a sea change opportunity. This is a new platform, a new plateau in the city of St. Petersburg. I was born on the Canadian border in Niagara Falls, New York, and I'm probably a certified Yankee, although I've been here in St. Petersburg living, this is my homestead, since 2005. But I know cities, and I've been in the trenches, and there's no better support for a transition than being able to anticipate the horrors while also envisioning the promise. And that's why I said I'm the inspiration, because I can tell you, they've got you in the crosshairs, and if you think that there's one of those things, you know, what this cross is on your back, a bullseye, you're right. But this is what you might think of doing. And that's why you are here, finding facts, looking for data, looking in other environments outside this city and across this country for the way that things have been done successfully that you can replicate. There won't be time for recommendations until the middle toward the end of December, because you have a challenge to reach beyond your comfort zone and the comfort zone of this city and bring possible remedies in and vet them and look at them and see what you think about them. And then at a time when you're more comfortable with what you want to propose, there will be a formal meeting, much like this one, where the proposals and recommendations will be formally submitted for the consideration of the mayor. But we all know that you can't shoot from the hip and really hit the target. You have to aim, and you have to cock, and you have to fire, and that takes time. And that's what you're being asked to do. Look, find the ammunition, compare it with other data, and there are lots of kinds of data people don't really appreciate. That there are statistics, but there are interviews, there's soft, there's qualitative data, there's the comparison between one possible remedy and another. And Andy Hayes and I will be working directly with the conveners, helping you stay on target and helping you access data and information. And you will have the support and the collaboration, the cooperation of the City Administrator's Office, with whom we have met, and we will be the traffic cops. We will receive your requests for information, and we will transmit it to the City Administrator's Office, and the City Administrator will then convey it back to the chair, through us, to the conveners of these task groups. It's very orderly. St. Petersburg has never done a transition before. But as I was saying to you earlier, other cities have. And they did it with much more cumbersome structures than this one is. I look around this room, and there are very few people that in the 3-4 years that I've been here full time, I have not seen. So you are in many ways the grassroots. You may be in corporate suites, but the city is so compact that everybody who cares about the city is a part of the grassroots. And the other thing is the city is so central that its boundaries are fungible. They're porous. And what you do here and what you model here will be replicated other places that also have never had a transition team and doing some things, some development things, some experimental and innovative things that other cities have never thought of. So this is a great possibility for its great opportunity. And I wanted to make sure that you knew this. I think he wanted me to tell you that I graduated from the University of Pennsylvania, and that I'm much more earthy than the University of Pennsylvania, trust me. All right. I wanted to make use of the time that remains to us by going to, those of you who have an agenda, please look at item D, task groups mandate, the scope of work. I passed out several pieces of paper. I did not give them to you before because we wanted you to focus on what was going on up here. But if you will take this piece of paper, this orange, this lists the task groups which we have created for your consideration. We've also taken the liberty, based on our knowledge of you and asking a lot of people questions, and just the rationale for being a good person for that area, to assign you to a peer group. If you don't want to be on that peer group, and you want, this says task group, and you want to be on another one, we will ask you to let us know. But that's the list, and all of you are accounted for some way under those task groups. The scope of work of the task group is represented by this line colored piece of paper, where there's a series of challenging considerations. They are not really questions, because they don't accommodate yes and no answers. But these are guides for your discussion, for your data search, for your review of the information, both quantitative and qualitative. And we need this information so that when you make your recommendations to the mayor-elect, they will be based on very clear considerations. And the final thing that I passed out to you, and I will take questions, we will take questions here. This is an alpha list, not by full name, it's not by last name first. But these are all of the members, I had an N on here, I think the N is 49. Oh, you don't have one? Raise your hand. Okay, good plan. Could somebody give me the blue thing?
Go ahead, the hands up.
Well, what happened to them? I guess we've got, and I asked those of you who have, who are visitors, just please to me, I'll see that you get more, to make sure that the task force members have one, because they can't work without it. The transition team members. Well, we're such the most popular thing in town tonight that we didn't think we were going to run out of this very boring, mundane handout. You got enough, Andy? I don't think I have any more. I'll look if I have any in my group. But I wanted to let you know that this is the scope of work you will be addressing. The mandate you got in your email from the mayor-elect. And this is the distribution of you across several participation opportunities. Again, if you want to do something else, Andy and I were talking the other day, this is a challenging job. We're asking you to give your time and your attention and the best of your intellect to doing this. And you ought to be doing it for the objective of something that really matters to you. So if you don't want to be on that task force, just tell us. All right, are there any questions right now for me on this? Yes.
Do you plan to convene the 9 leaders into some forum or this kind of?
I'm sorry, Evan. That's why we've divided you between the two of us, Andy and I. I will be contacting you before the end of this week. Every convener, I will call you or email you and talk with you, because I'm going to be away next week. So I want you to take full advantage of your whatever time you have between now and a week from the Saturday after Thanksgiving, to convene your groups or to meet with them somehow and get them started on this scope of work, this assignment. And we will facilitate your getting information that you need from the city. You will tell the convener, who will contact me if I'm your coordinator, or Andy Hayes if he's your coordinator, by email or by phone. And we will then talk to Tish Elston, with whom we've met, and she will make sure we get in a very timely fashion what you've asked for. It's a work in progress in terms of your figuring out what you need, so that's why I'm going to be in touch with you. I've done this before, several times. and I do know how it works, and it is challenging, but it's really exciting. And you'll have an opportunity to be creative and to think outside the box about what you'd like for the city to be. So any specific questions about this?
Greg Sher is
Hands out like, what?
We gotta get contact information fairly soon of all these people.
Right, well, I'd intended that we would put it up here so you could copy it down, but I'm gonna give cards to everybody.
No, there's a list,
Is
there's
there-
a form going around.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's,
Oh, right,
that's
did
the
you
next
fill out,
one.
oh, yeah, right. Did you fill out the form on the clipboard? Did everybody put in their preferred contact information as we asked on that clipboard? No, it was on the clipboard too. It said preferred contact information.
No, we're doing it now.
That's fine, but I do want, we have to have a record of this meeting. If you didn't put that on your clipboard, I'm going to pass the clipboard around. Please. Okay. Well, we're easy, except you have to follow instructions.
Thank you. The communication piece, there were half-size white sheets of paper that were passed out. Is there anybody that didn't get one? Okay. All right, there were 50 of those, so we should have, is there a stack that's stopped somewhere?
I'll find that.
No, right here. Okay.
I'll get it.
I want to go back to item, yeah, it's these two front rows that have it. Now, there we go. Thank you. Okay, as those go around, if I could go back on the agenda to item 3D2, benchmark meetings of conveners. That's referring to weekly updates that we need to get from the conveners. Simply one page, did you meet? And the highlights of what the meeting was about. Moving on to 3D3, task group resources and products. As Dr. Scruggs-Leftwich said, this has not been done many times before for a city of this size. And so there are documents you may want and things you may feel you need from the city. That in order to be fair to city staff and city employees and ensure that there's transparency, any requests that you have need to go to your convener, from your convener to either Dr. Scruggs-Leftwich or myself, and then we will forward them to one point of contact in the city, and then they will respond.
Councilman Wingate, you sent a shadow ahead of time. Glad to see you. You know who that was. And Reverend Louis Murphy, welcome to both of you. We know what a challenge it is for you to make the time to, all along through this process, you've been available to the co-chairs. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So, did everybody get a form, contact information form? Please make sure that I get those before you leave today. It's critical to be able to communicate amongst the members and amongst the teams. Why is this important? St. Petersburg is the 70th largest city in the United States. Well, that doesn't sound all that important until you realize that there are 20,000 cities, over 20,000, in the United States. So we're 1/4 of the top percentile in terms of size. That's one reason why this is important. And we're trying to do something in a transparent, thoughtful way and make our city better as we go. So if there are no other questions, I've saved my inspiration for last, and I scratched out my quote from Machiavelli, and I now will share one from Confucius. It's really simple. Whichever way you go with all your heart. Thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate your interest. We appreciate your commitment, and we look forward to working with each and every one of you. Thank you very much.